Welcome to FasciaBlaster 101. In this video, I'm going to go over the fundamentals and basics to get you started with your FasciaBlaster right away. First, let's just talk quickly about fascia, what it is, and why we're so focused on it with our FasciaBlaster. Well, fascia is connective tissue. It actually serves many purposes. You have various chains of it throughout your body. Specifically, one connects to the bottom of your feet and moves up all the way to the back of your head. There are other ones that crisscross your body, and it's like these slings that connect motion through the entire system. You have it wraps your muscles, it wraps bundles of things together. It's very, very important. And if you've ever seen a raw chicken breast, sorry to my vegans, the thin layer of film that you pull off of it, that's fascia. And if you've ever looked at that, it kind of has some webbing underneath it. So that webbing is these elastic filaments that connect the fascia to whatever structure is there, your muscle, nerves, bone, and those should be elastic and pliable. What happens over time, specifically with these adhesions, is that they think of them as getting thickened and stiff, and everything gets stuck together. So instead of allowing this glide between the tissues, now everything is really stuck together. And now you can see why I call it that shrink wrap tightness. So what we want to do is actually try to comb out that restriction. Think of it like a snarl in the hair. You want to kind of break up those adhesions and open that up, and so that you rebuild that pliability. So the FasciaBlaster is just super effective at breaking up those restrictions, combing that out so that the tissue can actually move along each other again. And it's also going to encourage better quality tissue to be laid down in the healing process. So super, super helpful tool to be using as part of our programming. All right, let's go over the various FasciaBlaster tools that you will be seeing in the videos. So most people buy one or two of the tools to begin with, and then increase their toolbox as they're becoming more specific with their needs. So the prong size is one of the key things to think about. Now we have the thicker prong size. That's going to be a broader surface area. So this is going to be very good for working deep into the tissue. You can use it for superficial stuff as well, but you're going to want a broader contact when you're working deep into the tissue. The smaller prongs are just not going to be as effective for that. So the smaller prongs here, they're going to be obviously much better for that superficial tissue. This in particular is called the FasciaBlaster. So I use this a lot with neck work, especially those scalenes and really tight, more superficial structures. And we use it for the face to improve that collagen and elasticity around our face, for our TMJ, for headaches around our scalp. Super effective. This was actually the first tool that was used on me when I was introduced to the FasciaBlaster, and I immediately fell in love with it. It helped me so much. Now, this tool is called the Mini 2. It has a couple other features on it, which is this rounded end here, great for working the plantar fascia or more tough tendinous tissue like that. These pointy areas are great for trigger point areas or some focal maybe spasm spots that you want to just push that into and sustain that pressure to get it to release. They also make a Pro Blaster now as a new tool, which is like kind of a square rectangle shape, and it has several of these pointier ends, and the end is pointier than this rounded tip on this one. So that's also a great tool, especially if you really need to desensitize the tissue. If you have a lot of pain and sensitivity to using these tools initially, that Pro Blaster is great for desensitizing any areas. So you can look into that. Let's go into some of the other tools that you will be seeing in the videos. This tool is the Paddle Blaster, and you can see here it's got all the little tiny prongs on there. It has one handle. It's a little bit heavier, but it also has this edge, which is great for getting around a muscle area, say your forearm, and really trying to put pressure and then stretch out that area with some tension. So I use this tool a lot for the superficial work on my quads and IT bands, hamstrings, calves, because you can also cover a greater surface area than just with the FasciaBlaster. This is the original FasciaBlaster here. It actually has the 4 prongs, the wider surface area, and it has 2 handles. These tools are great with the two handles to work in your hamstrings, your back, the back of your hips, even getting the back of your shoulders, because it just extends your reach. They are a little bit heavy, but especially using it for your legs, and when you can use both hands, super, super, super effective. And I love this tool. It's often the one I really have people get right off the bat, because it is a little bit more versatile, even though if you're using it with one hand, it's a little bit heavy. Now they also make the Pro Blaster. It comes in white and black, and it has those tinier prongs to do that more superficial work. So again, I use this really on the hamstrings and the IT band, where you can get a lot of those really tough, tight fascial adhesions. So if you're really looking to get into that back of that leg and hip and that lower back, these two handles are just really great to help support you in getting into those hard to reach areas. They also make a Mini 1, which is a handle with only one of these broader based prongs, which is also a great tool for getting kind of harder to reach areas, but it's going to be very light. So that's nice if you feel like this might be a little too heavy to use with one hand. Let's go over technique. It's really important you make sure you're using a massage oil. You can use the fascia oil that they sell through FasciaBlaster. I also recommend using an Arnica 35 oil. This is a product that's made in Italy. It's a very concentrated Arnica oil. Now, Arnica is great. The flower of Arnica, the properties of it actually draw blood flow into the tissue, help kind of minimize that bruising or accelerate that healing process. So the Arnica 35 is just a great product. Now, you want to obviously just cover the area that you'll be working. And people always want to talk about how often should they do it, what should they be doing. I say to keep the tools usually in your bathroom. It's kind of the easiest before you get in the shower, while you're waiting for it to warm up. You can put the oil on, just pick an area. Maybe you do each side if you have two of them. And just, you're going to work that area that day. Next day, choose a different area. So it's the consistency over time that's going to show you your progress that's being made in a bigger picture. All right, so you're going to go about it to work the superficial tissue first. The best thing to do for that is to put the tissue under stretch. So I'm just going to demonstrate on my forearm here for ease of the video. So you're going to put that tissue under stretch. Use the smaller prongs if you have them. And the basic technique is just to move up and down for, several passes, as many passes as you feel you need to get some effective treatment in there. Now, I have a lot of experience with this, so I don't really find this painful anymore. If you find this too painful, you're going to decrease your pressure. So your pressure that you use is going to be dictated by your tolerance. Now, if that still is too sensitive for an area that you're working, that's when using something like the points can help you in holding those points in, just to help desensitize that tissue in the beginning. If you don't have the pointy end or the Pro Blaster, you can just use the prongs and just press them in, and do some little gentle, tiny movements. Okay, so a smaller movement is going to be obviously easier than a nice, long, broad, hard pressure that I'm using here. So once you're done with the one direction, then you're just going to do the opposite. When we go side to side. Just cover that area, and as you get more experience, you'll start to feel how some areas need more focused treatment than others, and you can then spend that focused time in those areas. So let's go over a couple of different areas just so that you have an idea of how to go about it, and then you'll be ready to roll really effectively with your FasciaBlaster tools. Okay, let's cover the lower back. I've already put on my oil to demonstrate for you. I'm going to use my two handles just to make it a little bit easier. And you can sit in a chair just to help kind of anchor your hips down and then flex forward to get it under stretch. I'm just going to do it here standing just for the ease of the video. So you're going to obviously round your lower back if you tolerate, and you're just going to move up and down. Get to those little top of that pelvis, up to the rib cage. You don't want to go necessarily right on the spine. You want to be a little more deliberate with maybe one of the prongs and go a little slower there. It's really uncomfortable to go right on top of a bone. And then you move side to side. Same thing here. Side to side. And again, if you have the smaller prongs, like the Master Blaster, then do that first with this superficial work. Okay, now raise up your posture to put it under slack, and you want to keep it as relaxed as you can so that you can get that tool nice and deep in that area. So I'm moving a little bit slower so I can actually get that pressure in there and tolerate it. And then you're going to move side to side. Let's go over hamstring and IT band. So if we're going to use our smaller prongs, I'm going to use the Pro Blaster for the 2 handles, really helpful. The most effective tool I've ever used to free up hamstring restriction. Now you want to sit on the edge of a chair or, on the toilet seat if you're in the bathroom. And I just have my foot on a yoga block to help support it here. Again, you're going to put it under stretch in the beginning, just putting your heel on the floor, put a slight bend in your knee. You don't want it completely locked out necessarily. And you're going to put the oil on. Sorry, I don't have shorts here to show you, but make sure you got the oil on. I'm going to demonstrate with my pants, but really don't do that because it's not effective. So your hamstring, you need to cover really this area here all the way to the inside. You want to get the back of the knee all the way up to where that sits bone is, that whole area in the back. And that's why I usually incorporate the IT band work either with the hamstring or when I'm working my quad. So get it under stretch first, and then we're going to move up and down. And you see very quickly how much more effective this is than foam rolling or really any of the other tools that are out there for this kind of therapy. All right, and then side to side. It is kind of painful, but again, to your tolerance, and you'll really see how it changes over time. It's really quite amazing. All right, so you've got it after the stretch. You're probably going to want to do it a little bit longer. Maybe do the other side since you have this tool out, and then we're going to get into deeper tissue with our bigger prongs. Now you're going to put it under slack, so just put a little bend in that knee. You really want that nice and relaxed, and same thing. You're just going to go up and down. Now you can see the consistency of it. And so really it's just about getting the area under stretch, maybe getting a little creative with that, using a tool that you can access it properly, and you're just gonna put oil down, move up and down, side to side, and then give slack so you can really kind of get deeper in that tissue. And I do find that as I'm working deeper, I'm not moving quite as fast. Now the IT band, you can actually just cross the leg over the other one and pull the knee to the opposite shoulder. See, this tissue is now under stretch here. Put your oil on, use your smaller prongs, and you're gonna go along the length of that IT band and then side to side. Really get up as much to the back of that hip as you can. This is also a great way to get the back of the hip. So if you're sitting on the edge, you can kind of cross that over. Now all the back of that hip, all that tissue is under stretch, so you can work that there. Sorry for the banging noise. And then to put it under slack, you're just going to put the leg out to the side for your wider prongs. Same thing, just let that leg really be relaxed there. You're going to go up and down, side to side, and for the back too. So you can kind of sit on the edge, so you bring your foot, out to the side, back behind you, and just let your leg relax there. Use the other leg to bear the weight to support you. And then same thing, up and down and side to side. If you have any questions about any particular areas that I didn't cover in this video, or any other questions associated with starting off fascia blasting, then make sure you comment to this video so that I can answer that for you. And also, please subscribe to the channel so that you can be updated immediately once I get some new information released for you.